Let's travel back in time for a moment to 2007. George W. Bush was president. Rihanna's Umbrella topped the Billboard charts. The 5th Harry Potter movie had just been released, and reality star Kim Kardashian had yet to rise to prominence. Somehow, 2007 can feel both like it was a million years ago and like it was just yesterday. But what you might not realize was that in 2007, one major invention catalyzed a shift in the way we live, work, and play. Of course, on June 29th, 2007, the iPhone was released. Now, the iPhone was not the first smartphone invented. Steve Jobs didn't invent the technology, he just came out with the form factor that was most widely adopted. As a Qualcomm employee, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the Qualcomm CDMA smartphone, released in 1999, or the much more recognizable and popular BlackBerry, released the same year. But it was the iPhone that laid the seeds for a foundation of change. Now, applaud if you have a smartphone with you right now. Applaud again if you've used your smartphone today to navigate to this theater, store your ticket, or summon transportation. So I'm certainly not bringing to your attention anything you don't already know. You're aware you have a smartphone, as do all of your friends and family. But what you might not fully grasp is just how quickly and ubiquitously we've adopted this technology. In just 9 years, we've gotten to the point where over 65% of adult Americans use a smartphone. If that number seems low to you, it's because among college-educated and young adults, that percentage is much higher. In fact, we were able to adopt this technology so quickly and so universally that we've catalyzed a shift in the way we do business. We've shifted our economy to the on-demand or sharing economy. The on-demand or sharing economy is a model in which goods and services are traded on the basis of access rather than ownership. This means we're participating in collaborative consumption, where someone will rent out or sell something they're not using to their peers, whether it's their car, their house, an item, or even their time. Rather than the B2C business models of the past, mobile applications have enabled trusted C2C transactions, or consumer to consumer. Let's take a moment and talk about the economic conditions that made this shift possible. The on-demand economic revolution didn't become possible because the kind of consumers who were willing to pay extra for convenience and on-demand services got smartphones. Those kind of consumers had already had them for a few years. It was when everyone had a smartphone. They were so ubiquitous that even low-income individuals had one that these services became popular. Second of all, these services didn't rise to popularity until 2009, 2010, shortly after the traditional economy came crashing down. Following the Great Recession of 2009, both high-skilled and low-skilled workers alike found it difficult to find meaningful labor. When you think about rideshare, it doesn't just enable on-demand access to transportation, it enables an on-demand income, something that was becoming increasingly valuable. For this kind of economic model to work, not only did both sides of the equation have to have access to this technology, but they both had to see a value proposition in providing it. So that's where we stood just a few years ago. Smartphones were rapidly approaching their peak penetration, and there existed a gap in the economy. People were willing to pay for goods and services, and people demanded them, but there existed nothing to connect them. Fast forward to the present, and online marketplaces have become abundant, and the on-demand economy is thriving. So, where do we stand today? Especially with respect to machine learning and artificial intelligence, we find ourselves on the precipice of the next economic revolution, the shift to the automated economy. 1/2 of the rideshare value proposition is the supply side, and labor is extremely expensive and volatile. When we go back to What if instead of using your phone to summon someone to take you to your destination, the car could take you there itself? What if we cut out the middleman entirely and used automation to provide services? One example of artificial intelligence is Siri. At this point, you've all likely used or seen someone use Siri to access data. And in a lot of ways, Siri is very intelligent. She can understand humans the way humans speak, using colloquialisms or idioms. And she has a bunch of built-in jokes when you ask her an opinion-based question, or she'll respond with a humorous quip or a sarcastic pun. As we continue to interact with Siri in more complex ways, this anthropomorphized and artificial intelligent robot, we begin to expect more and more from her. And it is this expectation and comfort with this technology that will drive us into the automated revolution. Everything you do on your device, your smartphone, tablet, or computer, is data to be collected. When we use the same device the same way for an extended period of time, the computer or device can begin to recognize our patterns and predict our next move. This is called longitudinal data. So even today, when I get in my car after work, my phone usually has a notification waiting for me. It tells me the traffic between my office and my home. So every day, between around 5 and 6 p.m., it knows I'm going to get in my car and make the same commute. And it tells me the same thing every day. Traffic is heavy. Expect delays. Another famous example of artificial intelligence is IBM's Watson. Watson famously beat the world's best chess player at his own game. Chess is a finite game, though. Each move creates a finite series of possible other moves and so forth. And the machine's ability to see the entire board and see every option is incredible. In some ways, in this context, it makes sense that the machine is smarter than humans because it isn't bound by the confines of human memory and capacity. But what a lot of consumers fail to understand is that the machine isn't understanding, it's just parsing through options and determining the next best move. Watson's brand of artificial intelligence took an extra step, though, when it challenged Jeopardy victors Ken Jennings and Brad Rutter at their own game. Jeopardy is an incredibly complex game, which requires a really deep understanding of the English language, including jokes and puns. Watson didn't have access to the internet. Instead, it used deep learning and some downloaded data to sort through the clues. After it learned this excess of data, Watson displayed its most probable answer on the game's signaling device and handily beat its human competitors. We're now at the point that not only can machines beat humans at machine-like games, but machines can beat humans at an inherently human game. The machine is actually kind of kicking our ass. So let's talk about some ways where this technology will disrupt our daily life in years to come. The self-driving car is an innovation that science fiction has been predicting for years. And I'll be the first to tell you, it's not a matter of if, it's when. Driving is a really arduous and inefficient task for humans to complete. It relies on a vast amount of human skill, judgment, and reflex. Human mistakes can cause vast delays and massive injuries. Another challenge that the self-driving car presents is the determination of a hierarchy. When you're driving, there are often situations that arise where you have to make a split-second decision, deciding what the best move will be for you next. Things could happen such as there's a biker in the road. If you swerve to hit it, you'll fall into a ditch and possibly injure yourself. As a human, we make these decisions really quickly, and we don't always make the right one. But what is the right decision? When it comes down to self-driving cars, that answer will be programmed into the computer, raising a lot of ethical questions. Unlike chess, where there are rules that everyone follows, in driving there are no rules. There's an infinite possibility of things that could happen. An item could fall off a pickup truck, a deer could run out into the road, or someone could run a red light. What's the best move? As we move forward with this technology, this and many similar questions we'll have to find the answer to. Another place where machines can cut out human labor is in delivery. Right now, you can have food or items delivered by a human in a car, or on a bike, or any number of other transportation methods, depending on where you live. But in the next few years, we're going to expect to see drones take over this task. A drone is an artificially intelligent robot that can use sensors to create a 3D model of its environment. Can then use a trajectory to navigate through this environment and arrive at its destination. As drone technology evolves, there will be no needs for humans in this equation anymore. Lastly, I'm going to talk about another place where machine labor can take over humans: food preparation. For years, robots were able to complete any number of repetitive tasks over and over. But when it needs to use artificial intelligence is when it needs to create custom made-to-order items. Like, for example, a startup out of San Francisco, Momentum Machines, created a robot that can prepare a custom made-to-order burger at restaurant quality with fast food prices and speed. This is a pretty exciting proposition, but it's not without controversy. Co-founder Alexandros Spartakostas said it himself. This machine is not meant to make our employees more efficient. It's meant to completely obviate them. We could debate the ethics of this statement ad nauseum, and believe me, it will be in the next few years. But what history has shown us is that when technology can make humans work, can make goods be produced faster and cheaper, it will prevail. Google's CEO Sundar Pichai said it himself. Machine learning is a core transformative way in which we're rethinking everything we're doing. So what exactly sets humans apart from machines? It's our ability to think for ourselves, to fully and truly understand the world around us, and to behave rationally and at times irrationally. Just as we saw smartphones penetrate the economy and it shift the way we do business into the on-demand sharing model, we can expect to see machine learning have similar results. 9 years ago, the iPhone was released. Where will we be in 9 more? Thank you.